Hey everybody, and welcome to week 2 of class. I really hope that you found the first week's content manageable as well as interesting and engaging. As I had mentioned earlier, because this is a condensed course, there are going to be some weeks where you will find the material has been front-loaded a little bit. And what I mean by that is for the first 2 or 3 weeks or so, you're going to find that there's going to just be more content as we try and catch up so that we can get to the end of where we need to get by the end of the class. So just be aware that that's in fact the case. So last week we talked about colonial settlement and colonization. This week we're going to begin to move rather quickly to assess some of the key causes for the coming American Revolution and the War for Independence. Generally, when we think about the American Revolution, we contextualize this through a series of taxes. We kind of think about the American Revolution as being caused through a conduit of numerous taxes and taxation, where the colonials either didn't like the taxes or, as it really didn't like the fact that they were being taxed without some type of representation, felt that political authority was being removed from their hands. But in order to fully understand why the colonials felt the way they did, we really need to place those taxes into an even broader context. And so we're going to be looking at 3 additional events that took place during the colonial period, and they include the Enlightenment. And we're going to focus in on one particular thinker whose name is John Locke, who had a lot to say about the natural rights of human beings, about social contracts, about the right to revolution. Much of his thinking found its way right into the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. We'll be looking at the First Great Awakening, which was a spiritual awakening, and in many ways this is the very first sort of pan-American movement. And although it is a religious awakening, it, as well as the Enlightenment, sort of had a collective consequence where people began to think of themselves in individualistic terms, and they began to decide that they could make decisions for themselves. And I'll digest this more in the lectures and in the discussions for this week. And then finally, we'll be looking at the French and Indian War, a conflict that broke out in the 1750s, and ultimately ends in 1763. With the British being victorious, they acquire a great deal of land. But in fighting this war, the French and Indian War, the British emptied their treasury. And this is what's going to prompt Grenville, who was Minister of Britain at the time, to begin to issue a series of taxes. And that's kind of where we'll pick up on the taxes. So lots to look at this week. As always, you do have discussion boards this week. Make sure that you upload your first answer by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. and then you'll want to respond to another student by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. as well as any additional comments or questions that I give to you. Generally, if I'm posing a comment or a question to you about your first post, it's because I'm trying to give you an opportunity to expand or elaborate so as to acquire more points. Okay, so you always want to make sure that you respond to both me and to another student by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. There are a number of you in this class, so it might take me a little bit longer to get the posts back to you. I easily have over 150 discussion board posts that I'm grading every Friday, so it could take some time. But if you have questions or anything, please contact me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, as always, go in peace, be warm and filled. May the force be with you, live long and prosper, and may the odds forever be in your favor. Have a blessed week, guys.